Tim Coet here getting set for game number 1 of this state tournament for Post 59. It's game number 1 on the schedule as well, as the anthem has been played here. Both teams reciting the American Legion motto prior to the anthem being played, and now it is officially time for baseball here in the state tournament. Right now here at 9:39 in the morning in Sudbury, Massachusetts, it is 72 degrees here at the field. It is already starting to get warmer. It was a little bit of a crisp morning, but now that the sun is out in full force, the field is quickly warming up, and as are these two teams here as they get set to play game number 1 of the state tournament. First pitch of the state tournament is underway, and it is a called strike 1 from Dan Avery to the leadoff hitter for Post 87, Dan Szabo. And now a bunt attempt. He offered at it, did Szabo, and now it is a 0-2 count. Dan Avery, last on the mound for Post 59 in that deciding game against Wachusett, pitched an inning out of the bullpen. Now his 0-2 pitch just misses off the outside edge, and it is a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Again, it is a 3-man umpiring crew for the state tournament right now, positioned behind the plate and behind first and third base. Here's the 1-2 pitch now from Avery. It is swung on and popped up on the infield. Kevin Martinez, a step or two into foul ground, is able to make the catch, and the first batter of this state tournament is retired. Here at Feely Field in Sudbury, Massachusetts for the state tournament action. Dan Avery now getting set to face Tyler Schermerhorn, and a lot of these names should sound familiar to both fan bases, as there is a heavy dose of returning players on both of these squads. Milford, of course, returning 9 players from last year's championship team. And Lowell Post 87, as we look over their roster, a lot of names that are the same. Schermerhorn is one of those players, who's up there now with a 1-ball, 1-strike count with 1 out and the bases empty. Avery a look into his battery mate, Michael Ryan, now delivers the pitch outside for ball 2. Dan Avery so far with regular season and playoffs combined, now making his 12th appearance of the year. A 6-2 record, a 1.50 ERA. Here is his 2-1 pitch. It misses outside once again. And now 3 balls and 1 strike is the count to the starting third baseman for Lowell. Avery has pitched 51 2/3 innings on the year. Here's his 3-1 pitch, missing outside with the last 3 straight pitches. And Schermerhorn is able to work a 1-out walk. Down at first base now, ahead of the second baseman, Joe Parisi. Avery has not walked many batters on the season. That is just his 5th walk of 2014, combined with 42 strikeouts. He leads the team in strikeouts, also leads the team in innings pitched, leads the team in wins, and is tied with the team lead in complete game efforts. He's had 4 on the year. Of course, to get a complete game here in the state tournament, you need to pitch 9 innings. The first pitch in now to Parisi is a strike. Now a quick check over at first base, and the runner Schermerhorn is back safely. Once again, we'd like to give a shout out to our friends at Milford TV who are covering the game today. As always, those games will be up and running on Milford TV as quickly as possible. We already have all of the semifinal games from the Zone 4 playoff tournament, and we are rapidly working on the final series. 2 strikes on the batter. The next pitch wasted outside, and Parisi now in a 1-ball, 2-strike count. 1 out, a runner at first base. The first baseman, Connor Callery, waits on deck, another returning name. So far, 3 of these first 4 have been players from last year's starting lineup. Here is the 1-2 pitch. It is swung on and missed for strike 3. It is Avery's first K of tournament play. He has a walk and a strikeout so far in this frame. 2 outs now in the inning, and here is Connor Callery. One player we do not see in this starting lineup is Mike Hart, who was an offensive standout for Lowell in the tournament last year. And now Callery takes the first pitch for a strike. Hart drove in both runs in the deciding game as the runner takes off for second base. The throw down is a good one from Michael Ryan, and the runner is out. And that will end the inning right here. A terrific throw from the Milford backstop. And half an inning is now in the books from Feely Field. Milford will take their first swings of the tournament when we return here on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on WMRC First Class Radio and streaming online at WMRCDailyNews.com. A caught stealing by Michael Ryan brought a quick end to the top half of the first inning, and now it is Milford, post 59, who will come to the plate for the first time, defending their state title from a year ago. And it will be Matt DeCina, Andrew McMillan, and Dan Mantoni, the three usual suspects, coming up to lead off the Milford offense, and they will take their swings again against the starter for Lowell post 87, Brock Riley, who pitched so well for post 87 in that championship day a year ago. Pitched a complete game against Milford in the first game of that tournament final, allowing only 1 run on 3 hits to the Milford offense. He walked 1 and struck out 6. He came right back out and pitched game 2 of the tournament. He was able to go the first 2 1/3 innings in game 2 before finally leaving the ball game. He allowed 3 runs, 2 of them earned on just 2 hits in those 2 1/3 innings he pitched in the deciding game. Cam Latta then came on out of the bullpen and gave up 2 runs of his own as Milford won that deciding game and won the championship. But Brock Riley, a very tough customer. His first pitch coming in to Matt DeCina. DeCina turns to bunt, pulls the bat back, but takes strike 1. Riley, a little bit of an unconventional looking delivery, but as we know, it is effective, as now DeCina sends a ground ball foul down the first base line, and he's quickly down 0-2. Matt DeCina, after reaching base in 26 consecutive games throughout the regular season and playoffs combined, went 0 for 5 and failed to reach base in that final game against Wachusett. Also had a couple of strikeouts in that game. So looking to get right back on track offensively, as he has done such a remarkable job setting the pace for this Milford offense. He's still down in the count, 0-2. The next pitch from Riley is inside. DeCina offers at it and grounds it foul towards the Milford dugout. Milford occupying the first base dugout with Lowell down the third base line. It remains an 0-2 count on DeCina, the windup and the pitch. It misses outside, in and out of the glove of the catcher Mansour, and it remains 0-2. Defensively for post 87, it is Chris Mansour behind the plate, Tyler Schermerhorn at third, Randy DeJesus at short, Joe Parisi at second, and Connor Callery at first. Left to right in the outfield, Keegan Latta, Dan Szabo, and Ryan McKennedy. Another 0-2 pitch, and another foul ball by DeCina, who's making Riley work for this first out. It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count. And a lively Milford dugout. You can hear them all the way from up here. They were a little bit docile in that series against Wachusett, but back to their normal chirpy ways out of the dugout. Here's another 1-2 pitch, and this one is a little floater out to shallow center field. A diving play by Szabo, but he can't make the catch. It rolls behind him, backed up by the right fielder McKennedy, and DeCina will reach with a leadoff single. Fouling off a number of pitches until he could get one he could handle, and DeCina depositing it just in front of the dive of Dan Szabo out in center field. The leadoff runner aboard, good speed on the bases for post 59. Of course, the one caveat to that, Matt DeCina was caught stealing in both of his attempts against Wachusett in the Zone 4 finals. He stands at first base now as Andrew McMillan will make his first state finals at bat of this 2014 season. Andrew, after going 4 for 5 in the semifinal round of Zone 4, went 3 for 11 in the Zone 4 finals, takes the first pitch strike here against Brock Riley. Overall, so far in the playoffs, he is batting .438, once again performing well in the playoffs as he did a year ago. Here's the 0-1 pitch. The runner holds, and the pitch is lined foul out towards the spectators behind the third base dugout. And McMillan is down in the count, 0-2. Andrew came out and pitched the top of the 9th inning in the deciding game of the Zone Finals. A 1-2-3 frame, then led off the bottom of the 9th with a double and scored the winning run. He swings away at the 0-2 pitch and hits it hard but foul down the right field line. No balls and 2 strikes the count to the Milford third baseman, with Tessina once again taking a lead off of first base. He's held on by Connor Callery. A long look in, now a quick snap throw to first base, and diving back in was Tessina. Riley leaning in close to get that sign from the catcher. Now he comes set. The pitch. It is inside. McMillan does not chase, and the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Overall on the year, Andrew McMillan has struck out 5 times. He's walked 12, an overall batting average on the year of .462. Another check over at first base, and this time Tessina is able to get back standing up. Andrew McMillan has collected 36 hits in 78 at-bats so far on the year. McMillan settles in the box once again. Now the pitch with Tessina taking off. It's outside for a ball. The throw down to second is not a good one, and Tessina is safe. The throw traveled to the shortstop side of the second base bag, allowing no problem for Tessina to slide in with the theft of second. Puts a man in scoring position for post 59 with nobody out, and Andrew McMillan again putting on a tough at bat. A lot of pitches to these first 2 batters. A 2-2 coming up, and it stays outside once again. McMillan coming all the way back to work the count full. And this will prompt a visit from the Lowell catcher, Chris Mansour. And the chatter continuing to escalate over on the Milford side, all quiet to this point on the Lowell sidelines. Now the meeting concludes. Mansour back behind the plate as Matt Tessina now takes a sizable lead at second base. Creeping in behind him is the shortstop. Now making his way to the bag, a pickoff play on, and Tessina's able to get back. He puts the foot on the bag just ahead of the tag. You could see that developing, but Tessina was able to react. 3-2 the count. No outs in this bottom of the first inning. Riley's next pitch, this is hit on the ground, foul right into the first base coach's box, played cleanly by Coach Wynn. And more pitches thrown here for Brock Riley. As we know, he can tolerate a high pitch count. This time he wins the battle as he gets a swing and a miss out of Andrew McMillan. And he heads back to the dugout, the first out of this bottom of the first inning. And now here is Dan Mantoni. Post 59 captain settling in on the right side, carrying with him an overall season batting average of .391. And he takes the first pitch just on the outside edge for a called strike. Dan was quiet offensively in that last game against Wachusett. Did not have a hit, but he did reach base 4 times, 2 walks, and reached on 2 errors. He worked a walk in the bottom of the 9th inning that finally pulled Connor Gill from that game after pitching 8+ innings, allowing just 1 unearned run. It was Jordan Tevens who came on in relief that gave up the walk-off hit, as Mantoni now sends one in the air out to center field. This should hang up in time for Szabo to make the catch. Indeed it does, and a quick throw into the shortstop keeps Matt Tessina at second base with now 2 away in the inning. And that leaves it up to Kevin Martinez. And it has been a bit of extremes for Kevin Martinez so far in the playoffs. You could not get him out in the semifinals against Lowell as he swings and misses at the first pitch here for strike 1. He went 4 for 7 in the semifinals, of course, with those 2 doubles and 2 home runs, 8 RBI in the semis, but went just 1 for 8 with 3 strikeouts in the finals. Up there now with the count of 1 ball and 1 strike. But certainly worth pointing out that the dimensions of this outfield here are very similar to what we saw up in Lowell, or excuse me, Leominster, where Kevin Martinez hit those 2 home runs. Here's the 1-1 pitch in for a called strike 2. So Riley, after allowing the first batter of the inning to get into scoring position with no outs, now is 1 pitch away from getting out of the inning. Looks down to second base. Here's the 1-2 pitch. It's hit on the ground towards third base, but it will kick foul. And back to the bag goes Decina at second. Ideal weather situations to get this state tournament underway. Blue skies overhead, not too many clouds, and nice bright sunshine. It's drawn a very good crowd for this morning baseball game. Another 1-2 pitch coming up to Martinez. He hits it on the ground towards shortstop, played there by Randy DeJesus. A high throw to first base, but getting back down on the bag in time was Calorie for the out that ends the inning. So Milford strands a runner in scoring position here in the first. We've played one now in this state tournament, and it is scoreless between Milford and Lowell here on playoff coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on First Class Radio. Both sides failing to score in the first inning, so right on to inning number 2 as Dan Avery heads back out to the mound. He will face batters 4, 5, and 6 in the order. Connor Calorie was the man at the plate when the top of the first came to an end. He was there when Tyler Schermerhorn was thrown out trying to steal second base, so he takes a fresh count here as he faces Dan Avery. And Avery into his windup. The first pitch here at the top of the second is swung on and missed for strike 1. Calorie again was a member of this post-87 squad a season ago. Takes a pitch here that just misses, evening the count at 1-1. He batted in this 3 spot in the deciding game, went 0 for 4. Now down in the count 1-2. In game number 1 of the series, he had 1 hit and 1 run scored. As he hits this ball down the left field line, it's a fair ball, fielded quickly by Decina, and Calorie will hold up at first base with a leadoff single. It's the first base hit for post 87 of the morning. And now here is Ryan McKennedy, the right fielder. McKennedy getting ready to dig in on the right side batter's box. Avery now from the stretch. His first pitch is a called strike 1. And taking a look at the Lowell roster now. First the next pitch, and it just misses for ball 2. Excuse me, ball 1, 1-1 the count. Ryan McKennedy listed at 5'11", 180 pounds. A recent graduate of Lowell High School. Here's the pitch. It is sent foul to the backstop. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count. A heavy dose of Lowell High School here on this roster. Also Greater Lowell Tech, Drake High School, and Tewksbury High School represented on this post-87 roster. Now a close pitch that just misses, and now it is an even count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. Avery a look in as Calorie gets off to a short lead at first base, held on by Martinez. The 2-2 pitch, and it looked like McKennedy was ready to give himself up for a strikeout, but the pitch ruled a ball, and that will run the count full. 3-2 the count with no outs. Now a pickoff throw over to first. Safe, says the first base umpire. With a man on first base, the infield umps at first and second base. Here's the payoff pitch. They check down to first base, and holding up on the swing was McKennedy, so he takes ball 4. That is the second walk for Dan Avery, so certainly not a hugely positive sign for post 59, as Avery only had 4 walks on the season and now has already gotten halfway to that total just in the first 2 innings of this game. And more importantly, it puts runners at first and second base with nobody out for post 87, and their catcher Chris Mansour coming to the plate. A brief conversation taking place between Michael Ryan and Avery before this next at bat takes place. They draw the infield in at the corners a bit, with the second baseman and shortstop playing at double play depth. Turning to bunt already as Mansour pops up the bunt, and right to Dan Avery, who springs off the mound to make the catch. So Lowell going for the sacrifice play to try to get 2 runners in scoring position. Instead, Mansour pops up the bunt. And it gives Milford a much-needed first out in the 2nd inning. And that will bring up the shortstop, Randy DeJesus. DeJesus also a member of this starting lineup last season, playing the shortstop position. He reached base twice in game number 1 as this pitch is sent foul just to the edge of the dirt around home plate. That one actually ruled a ball. It gets off the glove of Michael Ryan, so a 1-ball, no strike count. Avery checks on the runners, now comes home, misses outside. Avery trying to settle down the nerves here in the first 2 innings, and now Coach DeVito will pop out of the dugout, not liking what he's seen command-wise out of Dan Avery, who is usually pinpoint with his accuracy. If anything, his problem in his previous 2 appearances, 2 starts in these playoffs has been he's been around the plate a little too much. Trying to pitch to contact. He's given up his share of hits. He gave up 2 hits in his inning of relief against Wachusett back on Tuesday night. Also had 2 strikeouts in the inning, was able to get out of the jam on a ground ball to second. But he faces now Randy DeJesus with a count of 2 balls and no strikes, with 1 out and 2 runners on. Here's the pitch now, and it's swung on and missed. A good fastball there from Avery. DeJesus wearing number 2 on his back. He digs back in the right-handed batter against the right-handed throwing Dan Avery. Here's his next pitch now. It's hit softly out to right field. A slide in by Cam Cosette, but he's not able to make the catch, and the runners had to hold up as Cosette came close to making a nice sliding grab on that ball, but could not secure it in the glove. The runners are only able to go as far as 2nd and 3rd as they had to hold up, so that puts Lowell now in a bases-loaded opportunity with only 1 out in the inning. And Nick Powers, the DH, coming to the plate. Callery at second, Callery at third, McKennedy at second, and DeJesus at first. And the first pitch now into Nick Powers, the designated hitter, misses for ball 1. Avery picking up the pace. His 1-0 pitch misses again. 2 balls and no strikes the count. Nowhere to put Powers. As each runner now gets out to a lead, the next pitch misses low and inside. 3-0 the count. And Avery 1 pitch away from his 3rd walk of the game, and this one would produce a run for Lowell. As again, Avery looks to get comfortable on the mound. He has not looked particularly comfortable in this inning. And now wasting more time. As now he gets set. Here comes the 3-0 pitch. And it's on the outside corner. Powers was taking all the way, and he takes strike 1. Now 3-1 the count. And now the 3-1 pitch grounded right back to the pitcher's mound. They'll throw to first. It's high, but they get the out there. They'll throw to first base, and it is a 1-2-3 double play to end the inning. Boy, did Dan Avery need that. They go 1-2-3. The pitcher, the catcher, and the first baseman all involved in the inning-ending twin killing. And Milford is able to escape this top of the 2nd inning with no damage done. On to the bottom of the 2nd we go, still scoreless here on playoff coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on First Class Radio. Well, an inning that looked to be trouble for Post 59 as Lowell had the bases loaded and only 1 out, but Avery got exactly what he needed, a ground ball right back to him, and he was able to start that 1-2-3 inning-ending double play. And Lowell fails to score. We'll see if Milford can get a boost of momentum from that, as now they come to the plate here in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Remember, to lead off the bottom half of the 3rd, we will have our Paw Sox Post 59 trivia question and ticket giveaway, as now Joe White sends a fly ball out to the gap in left center field, but it hangs up long enough for Keegan Latta to make the catch. And the Game 3 hero in the Zone 4 finals retired on a fly ball out. The first pitch now with one out and the bases empty into Michael Ryan is a called strike one. Michael Ryan with a superb offensive performance in those Zone 4 finals. Takes a big swing and a miss here, drops down in the count, 0-2. Riley looks in for the sign, now delivers the 0-2 pitch. It's inside, it nearly hits Ryan. He's able to get out of the way. And now 1 ball and 2 strikes the count. Michael Ryan 5 for 11 with 3 doubles and 2 runs batted in the Zone 4 finals. Tied for the most hits in that round, along with Matt DeCina. Now an even count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. Riley shakes off the first sign from Mansour, now has the one he likes. Here's the 2-2, it's inside again. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. We settle in here for 9 innings of regulation baseball in the state tournament. This pitch is hit on the ground to second base. Waiting for it is Parisi. He takes it partway to the first base bag before dishing it over to Callery, who records the second out here of the inning. So Brock Riley, after allowing a single to Matt DeCina to lead off last inning, has now retired the last 5 straight as he starts to settle into his outing. 2 outs and the base is empty now for Cam Cosette. Cosette swings away at the first pitch for strike 1. Cam with a couple of hits in the finals. Takes a pitch outside. Cam certainly one of the members of the post-59 pitching staff that will be on standby if needed throughout these next 5 days. Takes a called strike on the inner edge to bring the count to 1-2. Riley stares in, now brings the glove up over the head, delivers the pitch, and it's fouled away up against the netting over the backstop here. The backstop only a couple of feet outside of the press box. They add on some netting on top of it to keep us protected in here. I certainly appreciate that, as now this pitch is swung on and missed from Cam Cosette. He strikes out in an impressive, quick and easy 1-2-3 inning for Brock Riley here in the second. 2 innings in the books now in game number 1 of this state tournament, and we are still in search of our first run between Milford and Lowell here on WMRC First Class Radio. 8 teams converging here on Sudbury, Massachusetts to start today's tournament. Now we see the first pitch of this inning. It's a great bunt down the first base line by the number 9 hitter, Keegan Latta, and he will leg it out for a bunt single. He dropped that down all the way down the first base line. It got past the pitcher. It forced Kevin Martinez to come away from the bag to field it, and by the time he had it, he could not make a tag play, and there was no one to cover first base. So Latta reaches with the bunt single. That turns the lineup over the second time through now for Avery. And it is Dan Szabo who takes the first pitch for a called strike 1. Lowell has put a lot of pressure on Avery here in the early innings. He was just able to withstand that second inning rally. Has now close pickoff throw at first base. Szabo almost picked off, but he was able to get the hand in just in the nick of time. It's a no ball, 1 strike count to Szabo. That is, of course, Keegan Latta at first base, as now he hits a ground ball slowly to shortstop. Too slow for Mantoni to go to second base, so instead he just throws on to first for the first out of the inning. So Latta, the batter, is retired. As I get things straightened out here, it's Szabo, the batter, gets retired. Latta moves down to second base on the play. Six to 3 on the ground out. 1 out in the inning. A runner in scoring position now for Tyler Schermerhorn, the third baseman. Schermerhorn walked in the first inning. He was then caught stealing. A good strong throw from Michael Ryan. We saw 2 really terrific, fundamentally sound catchers in that Zone 4 final between Michael Ryan for Milford and Cam Ruziak for Wachusett. A quick 2 ball, no strike count on Schermerhorn. Avery again looking to lock down the command. He's already walked 2. Now drops in a strike that brings the count to 2-1. He had fallen behind Nick Powers last inning 3-0 before finally inducing the ground ball that he turned into an inning-ending double play. Now falls behind Schermerhorn, 3 balls and 1 strike. Pitch count obviously an issue in these games with regulation innings going up to 9. The 3-1 pitch. He holds up the swing and takes ball 4. Schermerhorn, his 2nd walk of the game, the 3rd for Dan Avery.
Number 5, the second baseman, Joe Parisi.
And now Avery 1 free pass away from doubling his walk count on the season. And you can see he continues to fidget with the pitching rubber out there. He has just seemed a little bit uncomfortable. You wonder if maybe the relief appearance now 4 days ago was a factor. Not quite going through the usual routine in between starts. He delivers a first pitch strike into Joe Parisi, who struck out in his last at bat. This pitch is lined to third base off the glove of McMillan. It ricochets to shortstop. They throw it back to McMillan, who tried to get the force play at third, but sliding in safely was Keegan Latta. And this will prompt an argument from Coach DeVito. It was a line drive to third base, a diving play made by McMillan. It went in and out of the glove, ricocheted to Mantoni at short, who quickly threw it to McMillan, who dove for the third base bag to try to get the force play, but ruled safe by the infield umpire, who was right over there in close proximity. The conversation continues with Coach DeVito. Now he will retreat to the dugout, so everyone's safe on the play. So a fielder's choice gets Parisi to first base, and another bases loaded opportunity. And this time with the cleanup hitter, Connor Callery, coming to the plate. So Latta is now the runner safe at third, with Schermerhorn at second, Parisi at first, 1 out in the inning. And Dan Avery has been playing with fire here in these early frames. A first pitch strike to Callery, who did single to lead off last inning. Now takes a swing and a miss, down in the count, 0-2. Avery throwing those last 2 pitches with a little bit of anger, as this outing has not quite gone the way he hoped. Here's the 0-2 pitch, a defensive swing by Callery. He's just able to poke it foul. It stays 0-2. A Lowell runner at every base for the 2nd straight inning. Only 1 out. Another 0-2 pitch on the way from Avery, and it is swung on and missed for strike 3. There is the 2nd K of the game for Dan Avery. Comes at a good time, but not out of the woods yet, as he must face Ryan McKennedy, the Lowell right fielder who walked in his first at bat. 2 outs in the inning now. The bases remain loaded, and here's the first pitch of the at bat from Avery. It stays high for ball 1. Into the top of the 3rd inning in these state finals. Still scoreless, but Lowell threatening. Here's the 1-0 pitch. It drops in for a strike. Bright sunshine overhead here in Sudbury. Here is the 1-1 pitch, in for strike 2. They've had McKennedy jackknifing out of the way a bit, but crossed back over the plate. And now the count 1-2. Avery 1 strike away from ending the inning. Here is the pitch. And it is sent in the air, foul down the right field line, out of play. A lot of spectators taking in this game down each line, just beyond the field of play, down the left and right field lines. 1-2 remains the count. Here's the pitch from Avery. And holding up on the swing was McKennedy, and the pitch misses for a ball that evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes, with 2 outs and 3 on for post 87. Each runner now walking out to a lead. The 2-2 pitch on the way, and it's grounded foul to the backstop. Avery trying to find a pitch to get past the bat of McKennedy to end this inning. And a base hit would likely score at least 2 for Post 87, as this game right now is scoreless. Avery takes some time before this next pitch. Now it's on the way, and it's hit on the ground towards third base, fielded by McMillan. He'll throw all the way across to first base. He gets it there in time for the out that ends the inning, and for the second straight inning, Lowell loads the bases with only 1 out, but they fail to score again. And it is worth noting that win or lose here today, Milford will play a team taking part in Game 3 on the schedule today. That is Greenfield and Kingston. If they win here this afternoon, they will take on Greenfield Post 80, or excuse me, if they win, they will take on the winner of that series at 4:30. If they lose, they will take on the loser of that series and be right back here at 9:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, Blake Hill leading off this bottom of the third inning. He hits a ground ball single straight up the middle. Breaks through with the second hit for Post 59 in this game. Lowell no doubt feeling a little frustrated. They have had golden opportunities in the previous 2 innings to jump out to a lead, but Avery has been able to pitch his way in and out of danger. Now Milford with the first runner on. A bunt attempt here now for Kevin Lynch. They send the throw down to second base, and they get the out there, so the sacrifice not working for Lynch as they are able to gun down the lead runner. That bunt went straight back to the pitcher's mound, fielded by Brock Riley, and a quick throw to second base got there just ahead of the slide of Blake Hill. So he is retired from the bases, and Lynch is safe on the fielder's choice. 1 down, but good speed on the bases for Milford as their stolen base leader on the year. Kevin Lynch takes the lead off of first. We'll see if he tries to get into scoring position. The first pitch into Decina is hit out to center field. That's going to drop in for a base hit, played on a bounce by Zabo, and that will hold Kevin Lynch at second base. So Matt Decina, fresh off that 0 for 5 performance in the final game of the Zone 4 playoffs, is already 2 for 2 in this game. Wasted no time swinging at the first pitch against Riley. Runners at first and second with 1 out now for Andrew McMillan. Riley comes set, a quick peek down to second base, now comes home, and the first pitch just grabbing the outside corner for a called strike 1. McMillan struck out swinging in his last at bat, 0 for 1 on the morning. Here's the 0-1 pitch. This is flared out to left field. Ranging over is the left fielder, Keegan Latta, and he was just able to hang on. That one kept slicing away, but he was just able to secure it in the glove. If that had gotten past him, it would have been an easy run scored for Milford. But a good defensive play by the Lowell left fielder. 2 outs now in the inning, and here is Dan Mantoni looking to deliver a big 2-out base hit that would give Milford the lead. Here's the pitch, swung on and fouled to the backstop for strike 1. Mantoni popped out to center field in his only previous at bat. Lynch and Decina, 2 of arguably the speediest runners for Post 59, aboard at first and second. The shortstop sneaking in behind the second base back, no throw there. And now too much time taken by Riley as timeout is granted at home plate. 0-1 the count on Mantoni. 2 outs here in the bottom of the third inning. The runners lead again. The 0-1 pitch is fouled again to the backstop. A couple of foul balls to start off this at bat for Mantoni, and now he is down in the count, 0-2. Riley back to the set, sends the pitch home. It's hit on the ground towards second base. Ranging over is Parisi. He'll flip to second base, and he's able to get the out there just ahead of the slide of Decina, and that will end the inning. So now it is Milford who squanders a potential run-scoring opportunity. 3 full innings now in the books from Feely Field in Sudbury. Scoreless between Milford and Lowell on playoff coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on First Class Radio and streaming online at WMRCDailyNews.com. Back here for the start of the fourth inning at Feely Field between Milford and Lowell. Two balls and no strikes the count. Meanwhile, as we pick up action here in the top of the fourth, Dan Avery pitching against the catcher, Chris Mansour, and falling behind once again. Now 3 balls and no strikes. Avery shakes out the right arm as he now gets settled back on the pitching rubber. Already now 3 walks in his outing. Here's the next pitch. It's not close, and a 4-pitch walk to Chris Mansour to open up inning number 4.
Number 2, Randy De Jesus.
So 1 walk in the first inning, 1 walk in the second, a walk in the third, and now a walk to lead off the fourth. A free pass in every inning for Avery. He's allowed just 3 hits, one of those a bunt single. Also has 2 strikeouts in the game, but giving Lowell a lot of opportunities, and with a tough team like this, sooner or later they will cash in. The first pitch strike issued to the shortstop, Randy De Jesus. 0-1 the count as Mansour gets off to a lead. Now quickly has to spring back to the bag after the pickoff throw by Dan Avery, but he gets in. The 0-1 pitch for Avery in is popped up behind first base. Traveling out was Martinez, now called off by Joe White, who had the better angle, and he makes the catch. Just off of the first base area. The pop out is out number 1 of this top of the fourth inning. Mansour remains at first base, and now here is Nick Powers, the DH. Came to the plate with the sacks full in the second inning, but ended up sending a ground ball to the pitcher that started a 1-2-3 inning-ending double play. Starts off ahead in the count 1-0 as the first pitch missed from Avery, and now he sends another pickoff throw over toward first. We will keep an eye on the bullpen area for post 59, which right now is quiet, but the pitch count rising for Avery as he has 1 out in this fourth inning. The 1-0 pitch is lined just past the glove of Avery, and then it sneaks out into center field. Dan slapping the glove in frustration as he knew he had a play, could not make it, and instead that goes as a single for Powers. He is at first base. It pushes Mansour into scoring position at second. And so for the 3rd straight inning, Lowell post 87 will have a runner in scoring position. They've of course had the bases loaded in the last 2. Avery's first pitch now into the number 9 hitter, Keegan Latta, misses outside for a ball. And it hasn't even been one particular location where Avery has been missing. His command just not quite what we've usually seen, but you have to imagine after a long summer and with the highest innings pitched count and the highest total batters faced on the season, Dan Avery has had a lot of stress on that arm, serving as the ace of the staff this year for post 59. Pitching the team to 6 victories here in 2014. The count now 2 balls and a strike on Latta. Latta reached on a textbook bunt single back in his last at bat in the 3rd inning. Rolling it all the way down the first base line. He bunts again here. This time the pitcher will have a chance to make a play. Avery throws to first base for the out. Obviously the key when you're bunting for a base hit is you need to get it past that pitcher to force either corner infielder to make the play. That time Avery had a chance to field and throw. They get the out at first base. Latta retired 1-3. And there are now 2 outs in the inning. However, Lowell does have now 2 base runners in scoring position as Mansour was able to move up to third and Powers down to second as Dan Szabo up for the 3rd time since the first pitch, foul for strike 1. 2 outs deep in the top of the 4th inning. Avery mopping some sweat off the forehead before he delivers the 0-1 offering. Here it is, and it's a called strike 2. It has turned into a very warm morning here in Sudbury. Bright, strong sunshine. Avery a look in. He's ahead in the count, 0-2. Here is the pitch. And it is swung on and missed. It briefly gets away from Michael Ryan. He clears himself of the runner, throws down to first for the out. That ends the inning. The 3rd strikeout for Dan Avery ends it here in the top of the 4th. And we head to the bottom half of the frame, still scoreless here in Game 1 of this state tournament, which you can hear live right here on WMRC First Class Radio. We are underway with action here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Kevin Martinez, the cleanup hitter, leading it off. He took the first pitch for ball 1, now lines a pitch down the left field line. It drops in for a fair ball. Over to field it is Keegan Latta. He will hold Kevin Martinez to a leadoff single. Martinez now 1 for 2 on the day as Brock Riley returns to the mound for his 4th inning of work, so far surrendering 3 hits to Milford. No runs allowed, no walks allowed, and he has struck out a pair. The walk totals vastly different in this game. None for Riley, 4 so far for Dan Avery. It's been a much tougher road for Dan, but he has been able to keep the run column empty. 1 ball and no strikes the count to the second baseman, Joe White. Now 2-0 as a close pitch just misses off the outside corner. The set by Riley now comes to the plate. That time he's able to hit his spot on the outside edge, bringing the count to 2-1. Now a pitch misses low and away. 3 balls and a strike the count. So far in the game, Lowell Post 87 has stranded a total of 8 runners. Milford has stranded 3. These teams playing 2 fairly low-scoring games in the championship round of last year's tournament. As now White swings at a pitch, pops it up down the left field line. It could be trouble. It's falling, and it does indeed fall to the turf, but in foul territory as it dropped in between the Lowell 3rd baseman, shortstop, and left fielder. All were racing on to the scene, twisting into foul ground and dropping harmlessly in that vicinity. And now the count goes to 3 balls and 2 strikes to White, who flew out to center field in his only previous at bat. A stare in by Riley, sets at the belt, now delivers the 3-2 pitch. It's popped up out to center field, now traveling into the gap in left center. It traveled well, but Dan Szabo out there in center was able to track it down for the out. That one not too far away from the warning track. Don't always see a warning track on these Legion fields, but again, this is a top-notch facility here in Sudbury at Feely Field. Just a great-looking field all the way around, part of a complex, also softball fields, and I believe tennis courts in the area as well. 1 out in the inning, and now the pitch misses away to Michael Ryan. He bats with Kevin Martinez at first base, and 1 out in the inning. Ryan grounded out to second base back in the 2nd inning. Pickoff check over at first base. It forces Martinez to dive back in. Taking a little extra time in between pitches here is Riley. He has looked pretty comfortable out there on the mound. Here is the 2-0 pitch. He misses away again. And all of a sudden now we see a little bit of emotion out of Riley. He was so stoic in those 2 games in the finals last year, just taking care of business. Here's the 3-0 pitch. It misses outside. A 4-pitch walk to Michael Ryan, and there is just the first free pass issued for Brock Riley in his outing. It gives Milford a first and second situation with 1 out, and Cam Cosette coming to the plate. And a conference going on the mound. It looks like we will see the coaching staff for Lowell coming out to join in this conversation. It had been initiated simply by the pitcher and catcher, but now the coaching staff on the way. It looks like third baseman Tyler Schermerhorn in for a quick visit as well. Lowell facing a tough regular season schedule against some very difficult opponents. We certainly look at Zone 4 as a lot of tough teams, but certainly in Zone 5 as well, a lot of high quality programs. As you take a look at Sudbury, who finished the year at 16-3, Ashland at 14-6, who missed out on this state tournament right at the end. Watertown also with a good record of 13-7. You also had Medford with an 11-7 record, so a lot of very tough competition throughout Zone 5. So certainly deserving of 2 representatives here. Finally now Brock Riley delivers a pitch into Cam Cosette and misses for a ball, and immediately Chris Mansour heads back out for another talk. Possibly trying to switch up the signs here with Kevin Martinez now at second base. He leads there with Michael Ryan leading at first. Riley surveying the base runners, now comes home. Cosette bluffs a bunt, takes a strike, and the count goes to 1-1. One out in this bottom of the fourth. Milford threatening to take a lead. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Cosette. It's swung on and missed. He chased a ball down low. Cosette trying to stay disciplined at the plate. Certainly a tough task with all the pressure on the line of state tournament play. A 1-2 pitch on the way. This time Cosette holds up on the low pitch, and now the count evens up again at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Riley again pauses. Now comes home on a pitch that misses well outside, and awkwardly coming off the mound after the pitch was Riley. Now he receives the return throw from the catcher and gets back up there. Maybe landed awkwardly. He's now starting to kick the dirt around towards the landing area of the pitcher's mound. There's a lot of mechanics that go into every pitch from Brock Riley. Not a conventional compact delivery. Here's the 3-2 pitch now. It is swung on and lifted in the air down the right field line. A long run for McKennedy, but that will twist foul and out of play. A good at-bat being displayed by Cam Cosette. We've seen a lot of lengthy at-bats by the Milford hitters, trying to wear down the rubber arm of Brock Riley. Getting ready now for another 3-2 delivery. Here it is, and Cosette's able to hold up the swing. He takes it for ball 4, a close pitch, maybe a little bit high, maybe a little bit inside, but nonetheless, Cam Cosette trots down to first base, and now it is Milford who will have a bases-loaded opportunity. Back-to-back walks all of a sudden for Brock Riley, who had not had any command issues through the first 3. But walks to Ryan and Cosette, along with a single in the inning by Kevin Martinez, has loaded them up. And a big at-bat ahead for the youngest member of Post 59, Blake Hill. In on the left side, ready to see the first pitch. And he takes it outside for ball 1. And you have to wonder if maybe Riley did injure himself a little bit on that awkward landing a few pitches ago. He tries to regain his composure here with this bases loaded situation. A 1-0 pitch now on the way. Hill holds up the swing but takes a strike right in at the knees. 1-1 the count. The infield in tight at the corners, double play depth up the middle. Here is the 1-1 pitch and a waving swing and a miss by Hill. He chased a pitch on the outside edge, could not make contact, and now down in the count 1-2. Hill reached on a single in the third inning. Here's the 1-2 pitch, swung on and missed for strike 3. So Riley battles back after the 2 consecutive walks, gets a key strikeout of Blake Hill. 2 outs in the inning, and now it is up to Kevin Lynch to finally drive in a run in this game. All kinds of chances for both sides. A scoreless game. Now swinging at the first pitch is Kevin Lynch. He lines it down the first base line, but a diving catch is made there by Connor Callery, and that will end the inning. So we've seen 3 bases loaded opportunities go by the boards on both sides, and through 4 innings of play, we remain scoreless between Milford and Lowell here on state tournament coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on First Class Radio. We will now give the answer to our trivia question. That question, for those just tuning in, who was the last post-59 pitcher to come through with a no-hit performance? It happened back on July 9th of 2013. The opponent was Cherry Valley, and the pitcher in that game, none other than Cam Cosette. Cosette coming through with that no-hit performance. It ended up being the 2nd straight season that Milford enjoyed seeing a no-hitter at Pheno Field. Back in 2012, it was Steve Morganelli who pitched a no-hitter on the 4th of July against Framingham. And Cam Cosette, the answer to the trivia question for who last pitched a no-hitter. And in the meantime, as we get back to live action here on the playing field, good news for Dan Avery, who comes back out for his 5th inning of work. He was able to get a fly ball out to left field off the bat of Tyler Schermerhorn. That is the first time he has not walked Schermerhorn in the game. And it's also now a welcome sight to see the leadoff batter retired. Lowell was able to get their leadoff man aboard in the last 3 straight innings. But 1 out, the base is empty now for Joe Parisi, who is up there with a count of 1 ball and 1 strike, 1 out in the inning. Avery working at a crisp pace, delivers another strike, and the count 1-2. The next offering from Avery up high, but chasing it was Parisi. He's down on strikes, and the first 2 are retired here in the top of the 5th inning, and there is certainly nothing Dan Avery, Coach DeVito, and this entire Milford team would like to see more than a quick and easy 1-2-3 inning. There has been nothing easy about this outing for Dan Avery through the first 4. He has to face Connor Callery first, however, who made a great diving catch to rob Milford of a run-scoring opportunity in the previous half inning. The 0-1 pitch on the way to Callery, as now it's Avery who exits the pitcher's mound a little bit awkwardly. Now he starts to cover up a hole, so there may be a little bit of a divot that's worked its way into the front of the pitcher's mound that's had both pitchers with some awkward deliveries. A 1-1 pitch coming up, swing and a miss. And now 1 strike away from ending the inning is Dan Avery. There is action in the post-59 bullpen. It looks like it may be Blake Hill warming up. 2 balls and 2 strikes now the count, as the last one missed low and away. The 2-2 on the way, and it's hit on the ground towards shortstop. A clean play made by Dan Mantoni. The quick throw to first base gets there. It beats Callery by a running step, and it is indeed a nice, quick, low pitch count 1-2-3 inning for Dan Avery here in the 5th. On to the home half of this 5th inning we go, and it is Milford 0 and Lowell 0 here on playoff coverage right here on WMRC First Class Radio. It's the top of the Milford order on the way here in the bottom of the 5th inning in a pitcher's duel between Lowell post 87 and Milford post 59. Scoreless here. as Tessina sends a fly ball out to center field. No problem for Danzabo to field and make the catch. It's the first time Matt Tessina has been retired on the morning. Now 1 for 3. This is the third trip through the Milford order. And now here is Andrew McMillan, who has struck out and lined out, takes the first pitch high for ball 1. All is quiet in the Lowell bullpen as Brock Riley continues to work. It is the first, Riley coming off of the first inning in which he's really gotten into legitimate trouble. Walking 2 in the last inning to load the bases with 1 out, but he got his way out of it. As now he has 1 out and the bases empty, and a count of 1 ball and 2 strikes on Andrew McMillan, with Dan Mantoni waiting on deck. McMillan in on the left side. The righty Riley delivers a pitch that misses outside and low. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. We are in the top of the 5th inning. Action continuing in the bullpen for Milford, as it does indeed look like it is Blake Hill who would be the next pitcher called upon. Milford has only utilized 3 starting pitchers throughout their playoff run to this point: Dan Avery, Kevin Martinez, and Dan Mantoni. It is a 5-day tournament here in the States. That's now another 2-2 pitch misses. And now it is a full count to the Milford number 2 hitter. He's ready. Riley's ready. The payoff pitch is swung on and grounded to first base. It eats up Calorie. It travels behind him and no play. McMillan will reach. That one hit right to Calorie, but he could not play the hop. It glanced off his chest, rolled behind first base, and too much speed for Andrew McMillan. That may be the first error charged of this game. Puts a 1-out runner at first base. And Dan Mantoni takes strike 1. Dan popped out to center field in his first at bat, grounded into a 4-6 force play that ended the 3rd inning. They check on Andrew McMillan over at first. Gets back in safely. Now the 0-1 pitch misses away to Mantoni. We've seen 1 successful stolen base out of post 59. That came out of Matt Tessina back in the 1st inning. McMillan looked like he was perched, ready to run, but has to retreat to the bag on another pickoff throw. Riley's done a good job keeping the runners close. But now McMillan takes off. The pitch is swung on and hit in the air out to right field. McMillan forced to play it halfway. The ball ends up twisting foul and lands right at the edge of the warning track and foul ground down the right field line. And McMillan heads back to first. 1 ball and 2 strikes with 1 out in the inning. Mantoni the man at the plate. McMillan the runner at first. And the cleanup hitter, Kevin Martinez, waiting in the on-deck circle. McMillan was off on the last pitch. This time he has to scamper back to the bag on another pickoff attempt. Deadlocked in a scoreless game here in the first game on the schedule of this state tournament. In inning number 5, again, we will see 9 regulation innings in this state tournament. McMillan holds as this pitch is grounded foul towards the 3rd base dugout. And the count remains as is, 1 ball and 2 strikes, as we see another lengthy at bat here for a Milford batter. Nothing new at this point. Another check over at first base, and again McMillan is in safely right now. The run column and hit columns are even for both of these teams. McMillan reaching base on an error to the first baseman. It's the first miscue on either side by my count. We'll confer with the official scorer here when we have an opportunity to make sure the stats are aligned. 2 balls and 2 strikes is the count to Mantoni. As Riley is slowing down the pace, trying to keep McMillan from getting his timing down. He holds again as the 2-2 pitch is poked foul off to the right. And Mantoni will see another pitch. 2 balls and 2 strikes, 1 out in the inning. DeCina was retired on a fly ball to open the inning before McMillan reached. And now Mantoni and Riley dueling each other here. There's another 2-2 pitch. It's inside. Mantoni just able to twist out of the way. Riley's next one, it stays inside again, and it goes as ball 4, so Mantoni, after a number of foul balls, works the walk. It's the 3rd walk in the last 2 innings for Brock Riley after he did not allow a base on balls through the first 3. So Mantoni is now at first base with McMillan in scoring position with the game's first potential run. And now it is Kevin Martinez who singled in his last at bat. Must be looking longingly at these home run friendly dimensions here at Feely Field. He has 3 long balls on the season, 1 in the regular season, and those 2 home runs in the Zone 4 semifinals. Starts off in the count, 0-1. Now Riley's pitch goes in low. It glances off the glove of Mansour, travels to the backstop, and now both runners will move up into scoring position. Should be a wild pitch charged to Brock Riley. 1 ball, 1 strike count, so now 2 runners in scoring position for the Milford cleanup hitter. Here's the pitch, and a big swing and a miss. Martinez with an extra base kind of cut at that last pitch. And now the count 1-2. The next pitch from Riley. This one is lined over the glove of the shortstop, out into left field. Into score comes Andrew McMillan. They will hold Dan Mantoni at third base. It is an RBI single for Kevin Martinez that finally breaks through on the scoreboard. Milford takes a 1-0 lead. So now 2 hits in the game for Martinez, and most importantly, the first run batted in of the state tournament as Andrew McMillan crosses the plate. Dan Mantoni moves up to third base, and Milford now has the 1-0 advantage. Still 1 out in the inning, and another runner at third base to go along with Martinez at first now for Joe White. White swings at the first pitch, drives it out to deep left field. On the run is Keegan Latta, but it gets over his glove. It rolls to the wall. Into score comes Dan Mantoni. They will wave Kevin Martinez to the plate. He will score as now the ball has apparently traveled underneath the fence. So right now, Kevin Martinez stands at home plate. And it looks like now they will advance Joe White to third. The umpire now traveling all the way out. It looks like there may be just a little bit of space at the base of the wall in the outfield where that ball may have traveled. So an umpire has gone all the way out to the warning track to investigate. As of now, 2 runs have crossed the plate, but now they will send Kevin Martinez back to third base. So where have we seen this storyline before? Shades of that game 3 against Wachusett, seeing a runner pulled back from crossing the plate. So only 1 run will score on the exchange. It will go as a ground rule double by Joe White. He gets a run batted in as Mantoni is awarded the plate. Kevin Martinez stopped at third base, so it is now a 2-0 lead for Post 59. They have 2 men in scoring position, still 1 out in the inning as the last 4 straight have reached base against Brock Riley. And now Michael Ryan swings at the first pitch. An off-speed pitch from Riley that had Michael Ryan out in front. 0-1 the count. Now he swings away, hits the ball high in the air out to center field. Racing back is Zabo. He makes the catch, but no problem for Martinez to tag up and score. On the play, Joe White advances to third. It goes as a sacrifice fly for Michael Ryan. And so it takes one batter longer, but Kevin Martinez does indeed score. And Milford is able to take now a 3-0 lead. They have a runner again at third base with 2 outs in the inning and a chance now for Cam Cosette to drive in a run with a base hit. Swings at the first one and chops it right down in front of the plate. It rolls. Fielding it is the catcher Mansour, but he has no play as Cosette was hustling hard down the line. And that is about the shortest base hit you will ever see, as it barely made it past the dirt circle around home plate. But it took a high chop in front of the plate, and by the time Mansour could get into throwing position, there was no chance. So an infield single for Cosette. Puts runners at the corners. Obviously, Joe White did not have a chance to score as that ball was right around the plate. Gives a chance for Blake Hill, who is the designated hitter right now. He will likely be the next pitcher called upon for post 59. As he sends the first pitch he sees in this at-bat to the backstop for strike one. He has been warming up in the bullpen prior to this at-bat, so he will be ready to go whenever Coach DeVito calls upon him. Dan Avery coming off of his best inning in the top half of this 5th inning, a 1-2-3 frame. The runner takes off for second base as Blake Hill swings and misses. They throw through down to second base, but not in time. The throw pulled the shortstop Randy DeJesus in front of the second base bag, and Cosette is able to slide in safely with a stolen base. It's the second steal of the game for post 59. As now Blake Hill pops a pitch foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes is the count to the Milford designated hitter. Here's the pitch, and that one misses. Now the count 1-2. Cam Cosette, the runner at second. Joe White, the runner at third. As this one is hit slowly on the infield, ranging over is the pitcher Brock Riley to field it. He flips underhand to first base for the out that ends the inning, but finally we see some runs cross the plate as Milford drives in 3 in this 5th inning, and after 5 full innings of play here in game number 1 of the state tournament, Milford leads Lowell by a score of 3-0 here on playoff coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on First Class Radio. Well, finally we see some offensive production in this state tournament. It took us all the way until the bottom of the 5th inning, but Milford comes through. Everything starting on the error at first base that allowed McMillan to reach with 1 out, then a walk followed by an RBI single by Kevin Martinez, an RBI on a ground rule double by Joe White, and Michael Ryan closing out the scoring with a sacrifice fly. And Milford takes a 3-0 lead as Dan Avery returns to the mound here for the top of the 6th. Again, fresh off that 1-2-3 inning. Here's his 1-0 pitch. This is lined out to center field. That will drop in for a hit. Cutting it off quickly is Kevin Lynch.
Now up the catcher, number 32, Chris Mansour.
Ryan McKennedy able to lead off this inning with a single, so Dan Avery certainly looking to shut down this Lowell offense after being staked to the lead, but allowing that leadoff man to reach. And now here's Chris Mansour, the catcher, who swings and misses for strike 1. He walked in his last at-bat, officially 0 for 1. He attempted a sacrifice bunt back in the 2nd inning with 2 aboard, but popped it up to the pitcher. A good pickoff throw over at first base, and they get the runner. McKennedy getting caught a little too far off the bag. A nice move by Dan Avery, and he is able to register the pickoff. And that is the 2nd base running blunder of this game for Lowell. They've had 2 runners thrown out on the base paths as they had a caught stealing back in the 1st inning. Now a pickoff here in the 6th. Meanwhile, Dan Avery throwing a pitch here, a very, very late timeout granted at home plate, and you can tell Avery is not pleased about it. He ended up coming through with the pitch. It just seems to be something we see with Dan Avery all the time when he's out there on the mound, those late timeout calls. As now he gets a swinging strike against Mansour. Now back into his windup. Here is the pitch. It has popped up foul out of play. Avery with a bit of an exchange with the home plate umpire. It did not get particularly heated. 0-2 the count to the Lowell catcher. Avery into his windup. Here is the pitch. It is popped foul. Glances off the netting surrounding home plate. And it stays 0-2. The base is empty with one down. Randy DeJesus, the shortstop, on deck. As now Lowell does have action in their bullpen. The pitch from Avery, it's tapped out towards second base. Waiting for it is White. A low throw to first base, but picked by Kevin Martinez. 4-3 on the ground out, and there are 2 away in this top of the 6th inning. So Avery looking to face the minimum for the 2nd straight inning. Did allow a hit in this frame, but that runner was erased on the pickoff. He deals ball 1 into Randy DeJesus, who is 1 for 2. And now a strike evens the count at 1-1. Avery a look into Michael Ryan, who gives the sign. Now Avery into the windup. The next pitch is hit quickly up the middle. A diving grab made by Mantoni. He gets to his feet, throws, and a nice stretch by Kevin Martinez on the back end. Gets the out. That ends the inning. Nice defense turned in by the Milford infield, and that will end this top of the 6th inning. On to the home half of the inning we go. Milford out in front 3-0 over Lowell here on playoff coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on First Class Radio. Kevin Lynch leads this inning off with a first pitch ground ball to third. A bit of a wild throw from the third baseman Tyler Schermerhorn, but played nicely on the other side by Callery. Maintains contact with the bag, and Lynch is out on one single pitch. The outgoing 5-3, and now back up to the top spot in the Milford order, and Matt DeCina up for the 4th time. He takes the first pitch for a strike. Brock Riley continuing to work, but he may be on a short leash, as we have seen action warming up in the Lowell bullpen. DeCina popping this pitch foul up and out of play off to the left. And that's down in the count, 0-2. Singles in the 1st and 3rd innings, also a stolen base. That is DeCina's line on the day. The 0-2 pitch up high. DeCina does not chase. It's been a good run through these playoffs to this point for Matt DeCina. About to see a 1-2 pitch. He sprays it foul up to the backstop. DeCina in round 1 of the playoffs going 3 for 7 with 4 runs scored. He followed that up with a 5 for 13 performance in the finals. Carries an even .400 playoff batting average as he flares a single up over the glove of the third baseman out into left field. And there is hit number 3 on the day for DeCina.
Number 2, Andrew McMillan.
So again, it's nice to see DeCina getting right back to form after that 0 for performance in Game 3 of the finals. And now here is Andrew McMillan. He reached on an error over at first base to get the 5th inning rally started. He swings away here and pops it up behind home plate. This will travel beyond the field of play for strike 1. Andrew McMillan also with a hefty playoff batting average. It's at .438. Hit over 400 in the regular season, hitting over 400 in the playoffs, as now Riley deals a pickoff throw over to first base. Sliding in is DeCina. Riley sets, the runner holds, the pitch is bunted down the third base line, hugging the grass all the way. Brock Riley is the only one to make a play, but he cannot get the throw to first base in time. It is a bunt single for Andrew McMillan. And now after Riley retired the first batter of this inning, he's allowed a single to the outfield and now an infield single, and here comes the Lowell coaching staff out of the dugout. Action starting up again in the bullpen, a slow walk to the mound for the coaching staff. Runners now at first and second for Milford here in the sixth inning. Right now just a conversation taking place. And it looks like the coaches will walk away from the mound with no move. Doyle LeBron warming up in the bullpen for post 87. It will be Riley's game for now with 2 runners on, 1 out in the inning, and Dan Mantoni takes a pitch inside for ball 1. Now the 1-0 pitch just misses. A close one, you could see Mansour behind the plate gesturing almost as if to say, where did that pitch miss? But it goes as a 2-ball, 1-strike count, or 2-ball, no-strike count, excuse me. The next one from Riley, this one clearly missing up and away. And now Mantoni in the driver's seat ahead, 3 balls and no strikes, with DeCina creeping out to a lead at second base. McMillan at first. Mantoni takes all the way, and he takes a pitch low for ball 4. And back out comes the coaching staff for Lowell, and this will be all for Brock Riley. The stud pitcher for post 87, able to go the first 5 1/3 innings. But he leaves the ball game here. And so we'll see a pitching change. We'll tell you who the new pitcher is when we come back from this quick commercial break here on playoff coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on First Class Radio. The new pitcher on for Lowell post 87 is the former third baseman Tyler Schermerhorn. The right-hander moves in from the hot corner to take over on the mound. It is Doyle LeBron who comes in to replace Schermerhorn defensively at third. So right now, Brock Riley no longer a factor in this game. He is responsible for all 3 runners who are on base right now. Milford with the bases full and only 1 out in this bottom of the 6th inning, looking to give themselves a little more breathing room here against post 87. And what an opportunity coming up here for the cleanup hitter, Kevin Martinez. He broke through, giving Milford their first run batted in of this game last inning. An RBI single that drove in Andrew McMillan. He steps to the plate now against the righty Schermerhorn with DeCina at third, McMillan at second, and Mantoni at first. 1 out in the inning. The first pitch in is swung on and lifted in the air, foul off the third base side, and it will travel out of play. No balls and 1 strike on Martinez. Kevin is 2 for 3 so far today with a run scored and an RBI. Schermerhorn to the set. Here's the 0-1. It's swung on and hit high in the air down the left field line, but again, this will travel foul. That had potential home run distance, but well foul down the left field line, and now Martinez is down in the count, 0-2. Schermerhorn ready. His 0-2 pitch misses inside and low. 1-2 now the count. I heard people discussing the stuff from Schermerhorn prior to the game. Is not a hard thrower. Will send a lot of off-speed pitches up to the plate to try to keep hitters off balance. Here is the 1-2 pitch, and a close one that misses for a ball. That draws the ire of the Lowell coaching staff. That was a very close pitch. Kevin Martinez lucky to still be standing in there. 2-2 now the count with a Milford runner at every base. Here's the pitch from Schermerhorn. A check swing by Martinez on a ball in the dirt. They don't check down. It's ruled a ball, and so now a full count on the way to Kevin Martinez. 3-2 with 1 out. And 3 runners aboard. They all take their leads. Schermerhorn's payoff pitch. And it is swung on and hit in the air out to left field deep. This one's back to the wall, and it's up against the wall. In to score comes Matt DeCina. McMillan hustling right behind. They'll hold Jan Mantoni at third base. It's a 2-run double for Kevin Martinez, and that ups the Milford lead to 5-0. Charge both of those runs to the starting pitcher, Brock Riley. You still cannot close the book on Brock quite yet, as he is still responsible for Mantoni, who's now at third base. And 3 runs batted in now for Milford's cleanup hitter, Kevin Martinez. And after a rough series at the plate against Wachusett, coming right back to form here in the state tournament, they certainly need his big bat to produce if they are going to make it all the way to Wednesday's championship round. But Milford now with 5 runs on the scoreboard. They have 2 more men in scoring position as Lowell will pull the infield in all the way around. The first pitch in is a called strike to Joe White, who also tallied an RBI last inning. Is on a ground rule double, so now 2 extra base hits in the game for Milford. 1 ball and 1 strike the count. White officially 1 for 3 in the game. The 1-1 pitch, he offers at it, lifts it in the air down the left field line. The infield was in, so it's a long run out. That one lands in fair territory. In to score comes Mantoni. They hold Martinez at third, and so playing the infield in worked against Lowell, as that may have been caught if the third baseman had been playing at standard depth. But racing out was both LeBron and DeJesus. And neither could make a play, as that one dropped about 2 feet in fair territory down the left field line. The second RBI of the game for Joe White, who's at first base. Mantoni comes in to score. Martinez advances to third, so that officially ends the final line for Brock Riley, charged with 6 runs in 5 1/3 innings. 5 of them earned on 9 hits. Ended up walking 4 and striking out 2 as Joe White takes off for second base. A bluff throw from Mansour does not carry through as he looks to hold that runner at third base. Right now, Lowell cannot afford to give up many more runs as we are heading towards the late stages of this game. A 6-0 lead for Milford, a 1-1 count to Michael Ryan with now 2 men in scoring position. And Ryan granted time at home plate. Already coming up on 2 hours played in this game. It's been a bit of a slow pace at times with a lot of runners reaching. Milford picking up the scoring in these last 2 innings as now this is a pitch in the dirt that gets away from the glove of Mansour, and that allows Kevin Martinez to cross home plate. A wild pitch charge to Schermerhorn. That's the 4th run scored in this inning. Milford now with a 7-0 lead, and that unearned run now charged to Tyler Schermerhorn. Joe White had stolen second base. He moves up to third on that wild pitch. 3 balls and a strike, the count to Ryan. Coming home is Schermerhorn, and missing with that pitch for ball 4. Tyler coming in to try and give Lowell some much-needed relief, but he has not been able to retire a man so far, allowing a double, a single, and now a walk. Allowed 3 inherited runners to score. Allowed an unearned run of his own to come home on the wild pitch. There is still only 1 out in the inning. Milford will now send their 8th man to the plate as Michael Ryan gets caught leaning at first base, and he is picked off, so there is a much-needed out for Schermerhorn as we see our 2nd runner picked off of the game. This time it's on the Milford side. Ryan looking to possibly get into scoring position with that runner at third, knowing that the catcher likely wouldn't throw through, but instead started leaning a little early. Schermerhorn made the pickoff throw. So 2 outs in the inning now. The runner at third is the only base runner, with Cam Cosette at the plate. Cosette, the answer to our Paw Sox Post 59 trivia question and ticket giveaway. He's up there with a count of 1-1. The pitch is lined down the left field line, but that will hook foul. Cosette, a strikeout, a walk, and an infield single so far in the game. He also has a stolen base. 3 steals in all in the game for Post 59. If we see one more batter come to the plate, Milford will officially have batted around in the inning, but a waving swing and a miss here from Cam Cosette, and it will instead end the inning right here. But quite a productive inning once again for Post 59. They follow up a 3-run 5th inning with a 4-run 6th, and they now lead this game 7-0 as we head to inning number 7 of this Game 1 of the state tournament here on First Class Radio. Well, there was a time in this game where you certainly thought that the starting pitcher for Lowell was going to be the last man standing amongst these 2 starters in the game here today, as he got off to a nice, easy start to the game. Dan Avery struggling in the early innings, allowing a couple of bases loaded opportunities, but he has since settled down in his outing. And Brock Riley running out of steam over the last 2 innings, allowing 6 of the 7 runs Post 59 has scored on the game. Riley no longer on the mound, whereas Dan Avery comes back out to start his 7th inning of work. This is not the final inning of the game. We see 7-inning games in the regular season and in the zone playoffs, but 9 innings here in the state tournament. As now this pitch is looped over to second base on the run. White fields it, and his throw to first bounces, and the runner will reach. That took a long time to get to White, but once he made the play, he had time to make the throw. It looked like he sent sort of a change-up throw over to first base that bounced and rolled to Martinez, and that allowed the leadoff hitter to reach. And it looks like we're going to start to see some pinch hitters used in this game, as we did see a defensive change last inning for Post 87. So it was LeBron who came in to take over at third base. Doyle LeBron, who reached on that error by Joe White. And now another pinch hitter coming up here. A quick throw over to first base, and LeBron able to just get back in. Nick Bain, the pinch hitter, at the plate now. Right-handed batter. Takes a pitch off the outside edge for a ball. 1-1 the count. And we may see another pinch hitter coming up next. As now coming back to get the man at the plate.
Number 10, the center fielder, Dan Zabo.
So the runner remains at first base. There is now 1 out in the inning, as now Zabo comes to the plate. And Zabo swings and misses at the first offering for strike 1. So it is Doyle LeBron, the runner at first. He gets checked on by Dan Avery. He gets back to the bag. Batted in the spot previously occupied by the DH Nick Powers, so no more designated hitter from here on out for Post 87. Reaching on the error, then the last pinch hitter striking out, Nick Bain. And now this pitch is hit out to the gap in left center field. It gets down for a hit, fielded quickly by Kevin Lynch, and that holds LeBron at second base.
Number 33, the pitcher, Tyler Schermerhorn.
And now here is Tyler Schermerhorn coming to the plate. He came into this game as the starting third baseman, took over pitching duties in the previous half inning. That's with runners at first and second and 1 out in the inning. The bullpen quiet for Milford, but again, in all likelihood, Blake Hill should be ready to come on to pitch if Coach DeVito needs him here in the 7th. Called strike here brings the count to 1-1. So after 2 straight pinch hitters, we've now seen the top 2 hitters in the lineup come to the plate. Szabo reaching on the single. And now Schermerhorn up with a count of 1 ball and 2 strikes. The runners lead. The pitch is hit on a line to second base. The catch made by White. A low throw to second base, and they cannot get the inning-ending double play. And for Joe White, that's a couple of bizarre throws here in this inning. Fielding that ball to lead off the inning, he threw it straight into the ground over to first base, and now he did the same thing again here, catching the line drive, throwing to second base. So maybe a little bit of the yips for Joe White here in this inning. Here's a line drive. That gets up the middle for a base hit, fielded by Kevin Lynch. They'll wave the runner to the plate. Here comes the throw from Lynch. It's offline, and trying to sweep the tag on the way by was Ryan, but he cannot make contact, and the runner will come home to score. If that had been a little more on the line, they may have had the runner at the plate. But instead, LeBron is able to come around to score, so Lowell now on the scoreboard. The score 7-1. On the play, Szabo taking second base. So Joe Parisi comes through with an RBI single to try to start to chip away at this Milford lead. It came in as a 7-run deficit for Lowell, now down to 6 after that RBI hit. And Connor Callery coming to the plate. We want to remind our listeners that we have coverage of Red Sox baseball coming up later on this evening, and some Red Sox news apparently coming out. Just hearing from producer Craig D'Alessandro that Jake Peavy has been traded to the San Francisco Giants. We will try to effort a little more on the details of that trade. The Red Sox baseball on the way later, but much more Legion action before we conclude here this morning. There are 2 outs in this top of the 7th inning. Lowell has plated a run to bring the score to 7-1. They have runners at first and second base with Connor Callery at the plate.
Come on, Connor, get your strike killer, buddy.
Dan Avery trying to get through this inning. In all likelihood, this will be Avery's last inning. He's already received a visit from Coach DeVito. Talked his way into remaining in for at least the close of this inning. They want to keep Avery's arm as fresh as possible. They will hope to be able to utilize him again starting a game later in this tournament as he delivers a pitch in the dirt outside. 2 balls and 1 strike the count to Connor Callery, who has singled, struck out, and grounded out. The next pitch from Avery is hit on the ground. It's a slow roller to the right side. A nice diving play made by Joe White. This time his throw is accurate to first base for the out that ends the inning. So after a couple of tough throws in the inning, a nice rangy play by White. He gets the throw to first base in time to end the inning. Lowell grabs a run. They strand 2 on base. We head to the bottom of the 7th inning. A 7-1 score with Milford in the lead here on playoff coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on First Class Radio.
Now up to the designated hitter, number 16, Blake Hill.
Back to action here at Feely Field in Sudbury. Blake Hill wasting no time in this inning, coming through with a leadoff single.
The center fielder, number 13.
Another hit for post 59, who has really come on over these last 3 frames. Now the number 9 man, Kevin Lynch, at the plate. 8 teams converging here on Sudbury, Massachusetts to start today's tournament. These 8 teams will play throughout this entire weekend before the field is narrowed down to 4 teams by the start of Monday's action. Milford representing District 4, Lowell representing District 5. The other teams here present at the tournament for today, it is Greenfield Post 81 representing Districts 1, 2, and 3. District 10 is represented by Kingston Post 387. District 8 represented by Newburyport. District 9 represented by Taunton Post 103. District 6 represented by Westwood Post 320 and Sudbury Post 191. They would have earned a ticket here to the state finals regardless of their regular season turnout based on being the home city, but they are a very tough team. They would have earned their spot in this tournament if needed. They were the top team in Zone 5. So they make it here to the playoff, rounding out the field of 8. And it is worth noting that win or lose here today, Milford will play a team taking part in Game 3 on the schedule today. That is Greenfield and Kingston. Now 2 balls and 2 strikes the count with no outs and a man on first base. And this pitch low, trying to hold up the swing was Lynch. They check down to first base. He did indeed hold up the swing. Kevin looking for his first hit. He's reached on a fielder's choice. Lined out and grounded out. A full count with the runner picked off first base. Going on first movement was Hill. The throw down to second base gets him. Hill was ready to be off with the pitch, not expecting the pickoff attempt over at first. He ran right through and ended up getting thrown out by the first baseman, completing the play down at second base. So getting the leadoff runner was Milford, but now quickly erased on their second pickoff of the game. Now Lynch sends a base hit. It gets over the glove of Joe Parisi at second base, lands out in shallow right center field. So the pickoff hurts Milford here, as they would have had 2 on with no outs. Instead, it's a runner at first base and 1 down. Schermerhorn's now given up 4 runs in his outing thus far. He pitched the final 2/3 of the 6th. Pitched a third of an inning so far here in the 7th, as he deals a first pitch strike into Matt DeCina, who has a 3-for-4 day going on at the plate. 3 singles, a run scored. Now a pickoff check over at first base. Schermerhorn, a very good move for a right-handed pitcher. We've seen several outs made on the bases, 2 on each side, as now DeCina hits a fly ball out to right field in his tracks. McKennedy is able to make the catch. And now 2 away in the inning. And here's Andrew McMillan. He's been part of both the 5th and 6th inning rallies, reaching base both times, scoring 2 runs. He is 1 for 4. Kevin Lynch is the runner at first base with 2 outs in this inning. A called strike on the outside edge for the first pitch into Andrew McMillan. He struck out in his first at bat, lined out in his second before reaching on the error and scoring in the 5th and reaching on a nice bunt single. No question about it, as you've watched this game unfold, you know exactly why both of these teams made it to the state tournament. We've seen some good fundamental play on both sides. Kevin Lynch takes off as the pitch is popped up by McMillan out into shallow right field. Out goes the shortstop. Diving in was Latta, the left fielder. But holding on for the catch in traffic was Randy DeJesus, so he makes the catch that ends the inning. Milford does not score here in the 7th. And we have now played 7 full innings from Feely Field here in Sudbury. 7-1 the score. Milford with the lead as you enjoy playoff coverage here on First Class Radio. Well, again, it was not always easy. But Dan Avery was able to get through 7 solid innings in this game, allowing just a single unearned run last inning. But he gives way to the Milford bullpen here in the 8th, and a little bit of a bizarre twist here for Coach DeVito as he sends Kevin Martinez out to the mound to make this relief appearance here in the 8th inning. Kevin Martinez, one of the 3 starters Coach DeVito has used throughout this playoff run, but coming out here in the 8th inning. So that will be something certainly that we'll look to address in the Coach's Corner tomorrow. I should point out that it will be Matt Romling filling in on the broadcast for tomorrow's game. Sad to say, I will be unable to join the broadcast, but I'll be happy to have Matt here filling in state tournament action, and hopefully Milford can seal a win here today, which will mean I will be right back on Monday. But more work to be done still. 2 innings left to be played. Kevin Martinez with a count of 1 ball and 2 strikes against his first batter, Ryan McKennedy. He has a single and a walk so far on the day, also a ground out. He sends a pitch out to shallow center field. That will get in for a hit, cut off by Kevin Lynch, and that will hold McKennedy to a leadoff single. So seeing Kevin Martinez out of the bullpen right here after we saw him pitch 5 2/3 innings in the start against Wachusett back on Tuesday night. You would have thought that he'd be made available as a possible Game 3 starter in this series, or even Game 2 if Coach DeVito chose to go that direction. We saw in the semifinals, Coach DeVito had a rotation of Avery, Martinez, Mantoni. He flip-flopped Martinez and Mantoni in the final round. As now the batter hits a fly ball out to left field. The catch made there by Matt DeCina. And Chris Mansour is retired on the fly ball out. 1 out in the inning. McKennedy remains at first base. And one defensive change we should let you know about with Martinez coming in to pitch. Mike Caffarella into the game defensively at first base. So Blake Hill is out of this game now. No more DH on either side. One out, the runner leading off of first. The first pitch in to Randy DeJesus is hit in the air again out to left field. No problem for DeCina to make the catch. Once again, 2 straight fly ball outs to left. And there are 2 down here in the 8th inning. And that will bring up Doy LeBron, who will now make his second at bat since coming into this game. He came on to play third base when Schermerhorn was inserted as a relief pitcher. He reached on an error charge to Joe White back in the 7th inning. Ended up scoring the lone Lowell run on the day so far. Takes a look at a pitch down low. The count now 2 balls and no strikes. LeBron up now. Nick Bain on deck as this ball is lofted out to left field again. It looks like another clean play for Matt DeCina. Indeed, he secures the ball in the glove. And after allowing a leadoff single, Kevin Martinez induces 3 straight fly ball outs to left, and that concludes the top of the 8th inning. So Milford is just 3 defensive outs away from securing a win in this state tournament. First, though, they will come to the plate in the bottom of the 8th inning. That comes your way next here on playoff coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on First Class Radio. We return once again on playoff coverage of Milford Legion Baseball here on WMRC First Class Radio, broadcasting from the beautiful press box here at Feely Field in Sudbury, Massachusetts, which will be the host city for this entire state tournament. An ideal location to see these top teams in the state take part in tournament action. And right now, in this very first game of tournament action, Milford holds a 7-1 lead over Lowell Post 87. Neither side will be eliminated based on the outcome of this game, as Dan Mantoni now lines a single right back up the middle. Sneaks past Schermerhorn through the middle infielders and out into center field. And Mantoni now on base for the 3rd straight time. He had walked in back-to-back plate appearances before this single. He's aboard now at first base for Kevin Martinez, who is now 3 for 4 in the game with 3 runs batted in. He was up there hacking at the first pitch, but misses for strike 1. The leadoff man getting on base here in the bottom of the 8th. And right now, it looks like a couple of pitchers warming up in the bullpen for Post 59. It is the closer, Andrew McMillan, along with Cam Cosette. Seven to 1 the score, so not a save situation right now for Post 59, and they certainly hope it stays that way. It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count now to Martinez, batting with a runner on and nobody out. A quick pickoff check at first base, as again we see that good quick move by Schermerhorn, but Mantoni getting back to the bag. The next pitch to Martinez is waved at and missed, fooled on a pitch down in the dirt. Martinez strikes out. That is the second strikeout since coming into the game for Schermerhorn. Working now in his third inning. Came in with 1 out in the 6th. Pitched a scoreless 7th, now back out there for the 8th. And starts off with a pitch out of the strike zone to Joe White, who has a couple of RBIs on the night. Right now, the 4 and 5 hitters, with 5 of the 7 runs batted in that Milford has in this game. Coming off of an epic matchup against Wachusett, where we saw a grand total of 3 runs scored on both sides over 9 innings of play. Milford coming through with 7 runs in their column here in the state tournament. 1 run scored in the 7th inning for Lowell. That is all they have been able to collect against Milford pitching. A 1-ball, 1-strike count now on Joe White. Schermerhorn shakes off the first sign, now comes set. The pitch misses well outside. And again, remain curious about the state of the pitching staff for Post 59, with Kevin Martinez used out of a relief role as Joe White lines a pitch just over the leap of the shortstop, Randy DeJesus. The ball travels out into left center field, and it will go as now the 3rd hit of the game for White. 2 hits now in the inning, runners at first and second base. My only guess at this point would be that this would possibly be a side session day for Kevin Martinez, and Coach DeVito deciding to allow that side session to take place out on the pitcher's mound. He did get a fairly quick inning out of Kevin Martinez. A leadoff single, but then 3 fly ball outs. So possibly it will not interfere with Kevin taking his next turn in the rotation. A first pitch strike into the catcher Michael Ryan. Now the next one on the way from Schermerhorn misses outside. Continue to hear the pop of the mitt in the Milford dugout as they have the pair of relievers warming. We'll see either Andrew McMillan or Cam Cosette when we reach the 9th. 1-2 now the count to Michael Ryan. He has an RBI in this game on a sacrifice fly. He's also walked twice, so he continues to be productive, working counts and collecting on run scoring opportunities. Michael Ryan has been such a strong addition all the way around to this Post 59 team this year. He's handled the pitching staff with great poise, one of the better defensive catchers, and he has come through in clutch situations offensively as well. He had big shoes to fill this season, filling in for Nick Crivello, but he was able to do that. Both runners take off as the pitch is grounded up the middle. The shortstop makes the play. His one throw is to first. He gets it there in time to retire Ryan, but a little hit and run put on by Post 59, and that allows Dan Mantoni to move up to third and Joe White to move up to second. And now Cam Cosette coming to the plate. 2 outs in the inning, 2 runners in scoring position. As this pitch hits Cosette, got him high on the back, almost getting the back of the neck. He tried to duck out of the way.
Number 6, Michael Cafarella.
So Cosette heads down to first base as the first hit batter of the game. That loads the bases for Milford with 2 outs in this 8th inning, and now Mike Cafarella will make his first at bat of this state tournament. coming on defensively in the previous half inning as Martinez came on to pitch. And if indeed we see another relief pitcher come out for the ninth, we'll probably see Martinez head right back to first base with Caffarella exiting the game, but he has a chance to make an at-bat up there with a count of 1-1. Blake Hill had a 2-for-4 day out of this 8th spot in the lineup. Now Caffarella lofts a pitch out to right field. This is traveling deep, and it is going to roll to the wall. That allows Mantoni to come around to score. Here comes Joe White. They'll wave Cam Cosette to the plate. He will score. That continued to travel. It got over the head of the left fielder, rolled to the wall, and it's a bases-clearing double for Mike Caffarella. And now an even 10 runs on the scoreboard for Milford. And the rout is on in this first game of the state tournament. 10-1 the score. Mike Caffarella, dare I say, he has become a clutch playoff performer. He has not seen consistent at-bats in the playoffs, but when he's been in there, he has gotten the job done. Three RBIs on that double, clearing the bases. Big day for the Milford Bats to set the tone in this game and in this state tournament. I have to imagine that at this time there are no doubt other teams perched somewhere close by watching the final innings unfold in this contest. And now we see a good pickoff throw to second base, and Caffarella is going to be out. So a base running miscue there for Caffarella ends the inning. But Milford putting this state tournament field on notice. Their offense generating 10 runs through their 8 innings of offensive work. We head to the ninth. A chance for Milford to secure a win in their first game of tournament play when we come back here on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on First Class Radio. We have reached inning number 9 here at Feely Field in Sudbury for game 1 of the state tournament. Milford 3 outs away from a victory. They have a big advantage, up 10-1. And on to pitch this top of the 9th inning. Post 59 will use their 3rd pitcher of the game, and it is Cam Cosette. Coach DeVito was able to get the first 7 innings out of Dan Avery. We saw a scoreless 8th inning pitched by Kevin Martinez. And now it is Cam Cosette looking to finish it off. In defensively in right field, replacing Cam Cosette is Brendan Pounds.
Number 6, Nick Bain.
And meanwhile, Lowell will send batters 9, 1, and 2 to the plate here in this 9th inning. Nick Bain, who replaced Keegan Latta in the lineup the last time through, makes his second at bat. He struck out in his last plate appearance. Swings at the first pitch and loops it foul out of play off to the right. Kevin Martinez in his inning of relief, allowing 1 hit. And that was all. Cosette now in there. This is the second time we've seen Cosette make a relief appearance in these 2014 playoffs. A 1-1 pitch on the way to Bain. It misses high. Now 2 balls and a strike to count. Cosette was able to pitch a scoreless relief outing the last time we saw him. I believe that was against Leominster. Now deals a nice pitch on the outside corner. That brings the count to 2-2. It was back on July 16th. In game 2 of the semifinals, Cosette pitched 2 innings, allowed 2 hits, no runs, 1 walk and 1 strikeout, as Bain now hits a foul ball that keeps the count at 2-2. Cosette stares in for the sign. Now the 2-2 pitch on the way. It misses. 3-2 now the count. Cosette trying to get this first out here in the 9th. Here's the pitch. And this is looped up the middle, ranging over behind second base is Mantoni to play it. A good throw to first base. And Bain is retired.
And batting at the top of the order, number 10, center fielder.
6-3 on the ground out, 1 out in the top of the ninth, and now Dan Szabo coming to the plate. The next game on tap in this tournament will be the District 8 representative Newburyport taking on the District 9 representative Taunton. And I actually had an opportunity during the high school season to see that Taunton high school team in action, a powerhouse program out of the Hockomock League, and a talented group of kids down there, so that's going to be a tough team. Newburyport, also a state tournament regular, so a very good matchup coming up next here at Feely Field. I certainly encourage anyone listening to this broadcast, if you have a chance to come down and take in these games in person in the state tournament, it is a great idea to do so. A terrific field and a lot of great baseball to be played over these next 5 days. A 2-1 count from Cosette into the batter Szabo, and that one, Szabo tried to check the swing, but the ball glanced off the handle of the bat, kicking foul, and the count goes to 2-2. Szabo 1 for 4. He singled in his last at bat back in the 7th inning. Cosette into his windup. Here's the pitch. And that one on the outside corner for a called strike 3. That one right at the top of the outside corner. Szabo called out on strikes. It's the second time he has struck out in the game. It's the first K for Cosette. 1 out away from a win here is Post 59. The last chance for Post 87 is Tyler Schermerhorn, who pops a pitch foul right at the edge of the field of play. Michael Ryan has a chance in foul ground but can't make the play. Right parallel to the dugout. And it goes as strike 1. The game nearly ending right there, but Ryan could not secure the baseball, so it goes as a 0-1 count on Schermerhorn, who has walked twice, flied out, and lined out. The last hope for Lowell, trailing in this game by 9. The pitch in from Cosette, and it misses high. The count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. Make sure you stay tuned for our Milford Nissan post-game show coming up right at the close of this game after a short commercial break. Another pitch misses high, and the count goes to 2-1. Milford really using these late innings to their advantage. 10 runs all scored from the 5th inning on. Leading this game 10-1. Lowell's only run came back in the 7th. Schermerhorn now, after that foul ball, is in a 2-ball, 2-strike count. So Cam Cosette 1 strike away from bringing an end to this game. He has the sign he wants. Into his windup. Here is the pitch, and it's hit on the ground to third base, fielded cleanly by Andrew McMillan. The throw to first base gets there in time, and Post 59 comes through with the first victory of this 2014 state tournament. They defeat their rivals from last year's tournament, Lowell Post 87. A great showing from the Milford offense. And again, Post 59 defeats Lowell by a final score of 10-1. So Milford will head to the winner's portion of the bracket. Lowell now will be pushed to the brink of elimination, but they will remain in tournament action for another day. They will need a win coming up tomorrow to stay alive. So Milford notching the first victory, getting 1 step closer to advancing further into these playoffs.